Let's see when this thing kicks on, man. So I can pause this video. Let's see who jumps on it. Oh, there we go. All right, let me pause this now. Let's see when this thing kicks on, man. So I can, we'll see if somebody pause this video. Let's see who jumps on it. Oh, 9:30. Somebody should jump on. All right, let me pause this now. Drink my water. Let's see when this thing kicks on, man. It'll take a little while for people to get on here, man. We'll see if somebody pause this video because I do not announce when I'm going live. Oh, 9:30. Somebody should jump on. It's not feasible. All right, let me pause this. Busy man. But we got about a good hour here to talk some boxing. Drink my water. Let me see when this thing kicks on. Pause that. We'll see if somebody jumps on, man. Oh, we got somebody watching. Go ahead and type something. Oh, Adams, what's going on, champ? Okay, I see we got you in here. Hey, I'm glad you're on because I know how you feel about Deontay Wilder. And man, I'm gonna tell you, I think Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder may have his hands full with Zhelei Zhang. But I know how you said we talking about Wilder. Yeah, we talking about Wilder, man. Now, this is my thing. This is my thing, right? Now, I know how you feel about Wilder. I honestly feel that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, well, I put it to this way. Zhang should thank Wilder and he should thank Fury for the damage they did to each other. Because I truly believe as a result of the damage Deontay Wilder took from Tyson Fury, Fury took from Deontay Wilder, I think if Zhang was to get in the ring with those guys and Zhang was to land one of those big bombs, I think he has a good chance of knocking out Wilder and Fury. I'm just being honest with you, man. And plus, with a guy like Zhang, I think people are really underestimating, even after watching the fight this weekend. People are underestimating. You know, I've heard people say Zhang is basic, Zhang is this, Zhang is a robot, Zhang doesn't have a chin. And when I hear them say that, it makes me feel like, you know what? People don't want to believe that this 280-pound plus Chinese heavyweight exists, and he fights the way I think Deontay Wilder should fight. And what I mean by that is keeping it simple. Super simple, super basic. But I feel if Deontay Wilder lands his shot, that right hand, I just think he puts everyone down. Adam says, yep, I agree, but Wilder has a better chance because he moves around the ring better. I think he can possibly beat Wilder and Fury, but his odds are low against Wilder. You know, and that's the uniqueness of this whole thing, man, is when you talk about Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and you talk about Zhang. Zhang's not 6'1". You know what I'm saying? Zhang gets tired too fast. He was huffing and puffing. Absolutely. But what I was saying is, Zhang's not 6'1". You know, Zhang's not 6'3". That man's 6'6", 6'7", 280 plus pounds, 80 plus inch reach. And if he catches Wilder or he catches Fury, they're out of there. But you're absolutely correct. Zhang, now we know what happened several fights ago where Zhang was severely dehydrated. The man had kidney failure and still got in the ring. I don't think he realized he had kidney failure, and he fought. And he was falling all over the ring. And then he ended up going to, I think he got a draw, right? But nonetheless, Zhang and his whole stamina issue, that's resolved itself. But I did see in that Joe Joyce fight, Zhang took a gulp of air. I think it was like around the, was like, true, he a big block, yeah. I think it was like the third round, fourth round. I saw Zhang take a gulp of air. And I said, uh-oh, this fight's over. When he started breathing heavily, I said, Joyce about to run him over. But Zhang did so much damage to Joe Joyce's face in those first 2 rounds. You know, it's the damage that was done in those first 2 rounds that messed Joe Joyce up. And then he just kept getting hit, you know, the 3rd, 4th, 5th round with that left hand. But it was those hard shots he took in them first 2 rounds that messed him up. But the thing that I want to make sure that I convey, because a lot of people are forgetting, you know, Joe Joyce didn't go down. Joe Joyce didn't get knocked. He didn't get knocked out from a punch. He got his face broken. You know what I'm saying? And Joe Joyce, I said it before, I'm gonna remain consistent. If Joe Joyce can get beyond the first few rounds and whoever he's fighting, get beyond the first 4 rounds and take their punches, Joe Joyce wins the fight. I still think Joe Joyce will win the fight. Because it just seems that you can't damage that man's chin. But the problem is his cheekbones, his orbital, maybe even the forehead, maybe the top of the head, it doesn't seem to be made out of the same bone or same metal or same whatever that his damn chin is made out of. Because you saw that face just puffed up, man. And the other thing I'll say is Joe Joyce, the way he fights, that's how he spars, man. That's how he spars. You know, he's coming in the ring. You know, he doesn't have the best defense anyway. You know, but when Joyce was an amateur, he had decent defense. That's the thing that blows my mind. I understand when these guys become professional fighters, they evolve their style. I get it. But to see him as an amateur, damn, you know, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, throwing a bunch of punches. Him and Flip Hergovic, they had exciting fights. You know what I'm saying? But to see Joyce coming just like he threw it all out the window, that's crazy. Adam says he has a bad physique, not the body of an athlete. I thought Joyce could have won if he moved his head. And when Joyce got hit with the straight left hand and was in concussed, I thought he was going to fall. Yeah, Joyce was on his way down. The referee saved him in that second round. Joyce was on his way down, man. And but the referee jumped in, a little hometown cooking. It happens. And he saved Joe Joyce. But Joyce was out of there. But the other thing that I wanted to point out, now Zhang can fight. Silver medalist. Joyce is a silver medalist. Zhang's got skills. He's got head movement. He keeps it simple. He sets traps. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to pace himself. But this is the other thing that hurt Joe Joyce. You know, Ismail Salas is not his original trainer. You know, he was with someone else that led him through the amateurs and got him to the Olympics and then actually started him off as a professional. He chose to leave that trainer for whatever reason, which a lot of these guys do. They'll leave the trainer who took them from an amateur to a pro. They get in the pro ranks, they start seeing these other high-profile trainers, and they're attracted to that and they gravitate towards that. But that's not always the answer. You know what I'm saying? Because you see when a lot of these fighters leave the trainer who took them through the amateur program, they become a pro and go after the big name trainer, they don't look as good. They don't look as good, man. You know what I'm saying? A good example of that, let's just keep it simple. Oscar De La Hoya. When Oscar De La Hoya through the amateur program and became a pro, Oscar De La Hoya was a monster. Was a monster. He had that trainer, I can't remember the guy's name, you know, with the little poof on his head and the mustache. Yo, that guy loved Oscar De La Hoya. He left him. Messed around over there with Floyd Mayweather Sr. And Oscar De La Hoya, he just didn't look the same. You know what I mean? His whole style, even hitting the mitts and everything, he just didn't look the same. So to me, that's a good example of someone who should have stayed with their trainer. You can come down and talk about even Daniel Jacobs and recently here, you know, Berlanga. Everybody leaving Rozier, going somewhere else. But then now I hear Jacobs is back with Rozier. I hear Berlanga's back with Rozier. So what the hell is going on? You know what I mean? But they go out there and try something different. It doesn't work out. They look horrible. And then, fortunately, if a guy like Berlanga, he comes back before it's too late. But Joe Joyce, I think he was caught up in between what the new trainer wanted him to do and what he was taught to do that comes instinctively and not doing it. And that caused him problems in the ring. Plus, he lost all that damn weight, which I just think is stupid. You know what I'm saying? You're about to come fight this 280-pound plus guy. You're going to come in and drop 15 pounds. Now, we all know Joe Joyce is 6'6", 6'7". 15 pounds, him losing 15 pounds is like a 200-pounder out here losing 50 pounds. Why would you go into the ring and do that? And now you take unnecessary damage. Punch resistance, all that's affected. Dumb. Ed with more facts. Yeah, absolutely, Ed. It's the truth, man. That's I couldn't believe he lost that weight. Let me see what Adam said. He said Wilder can sit on the right hand 100% if he sees an opening on Zhang. He can get a clean right off on Zhang, similar to when he knocked out Brazil. That's true. What most people don't realize is Wilder didn't land a clean right on Fury until that third fight. And even that right hand Wilder landed in the third fight, he just started generating power on that shot. Yeah, that's true. But I'm going to tell you something about Wilder. See, Wilder and Zhang, this is the southpaw, the orthodox fighter. It's whoever gets there first. Deontay Wilder is working on so much right now with Malik Scott. I don't think that's a good thing, man. Because if you watch Zhang, all Zhang is going to do, he's going to use angles, slight movements. He's not doing anything extra. You throw a punch, he dips his head. He moves it just enough to get off the line of fire so that your punch grazes him. He's even okay with your punch grazing his face as long as you don't hit him cleanly. And then he's going to counter you. Zhang's even with his right hand, which he's jabbing with, he's parrying shots. He's blocking shots. He's deflecting shots. And then he'll throw that left to your head or he'll throw it to your body. If he goes downstairs, he's coming back up with the right hook. Keeping it simple. Wilder's equilibrium is off. As soon as he gets hit in the side of the head, his legs go immediately. That's the truth, man. Look, I like Wilder. A lot of us like Wilder. But I've said this a long time ago. Wilder's a little bit chinny. Now, he's tough now. Don't get me wrong. That what he put himself through with Tyson Fury in that third fight, torture, man. That's crazy to see somebody go out on the shield. I've never seen anybody do that. Like, I thought Wilder was gonna get killed in the ring. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. Let me see if y'all really on y'all boxing, right? You know, it was the first time I saw Wilder really get hurt. I'm gonna tell you when I first saw Wilder really get hurt. It wasn't Molina when Molina hit him. That got my attention. It wasn't Luis Ortiz, and it wasn't he got hurt by somebody else. But it's in that Dominique Brazil fight. I don't know if y'all caught that. In that first round, Deontay Wilder hit Brazil and buzzed him. Brazil went all the way to the right side of the ring, and he was in the corner. And Wilder went after him, and they were exchanging, and Brazil landed a big left hook. And Wilder went all the way to the other side of the ring, to the opposite corner. And he was hurt. And he was hurt badly. And I remember watching that, and I was like, oh, damn. He got hurt. He's about to get knocked out. But then the referee broke him up. Brazil didn't have his defense together. And he got tranquilized. You know what I'm saying? But that was a fight where I was paying attention, and I said, okay, this is what's going to present a problem for Deontay Wilder. Is when he fights somebody who's of equal height, equal reach. I said, when he fights somebody like that, Deontay Wilder's going to have problems. Because Brazil didn't have the skill set of a Luis Ortiz. He didn't have the skill set of a Molina. You know, he wasn't a Gerald. He didn't have the skill set of a Spilka, the smaller fighters. But what he had was height and reach. And he was able to touch Wilder when Wilder wasn't used to that. But that's the one where I said, that's going to give him problems. And when Wilder fought Gerald Washington, then he went on and the fights with Tyson Fury, they created problems for him. What's going on, Pennant? Adam says, I don't think Wilder should fight Zhang. I think that would be Wilder's toughest fight, even over Fury. I think Zhang is a problem for all those guys. Yeah, I think Zhang's a tougher fight than Fury. I think so. Zhang's a powerful southpaw. And Zhang has deceptively fast hands. I don't know what Joe Joyce was thinking about, but he underestimated Zhang. And, people underestimate Joe Joyce. There's a lot of people who say, hey, Joe Joyce is slow. He's this. He looks that way. But then you hear about the sparring sessions where they're like, it's different when you're in the ring with him. And I think that's what happened with Joe Joyce and Zhang. He learned quickly. This man that fought Anthony Joshua in the Olympics, see, some people forgot about that. He fought Anthony Joshua in the Olympics. Joshua knocked him down. Joshua won the gold. He won the silver. But this isn't the same Zhang from those Olympics. And this isn't the same Joshua. And I think Zhang I think Zhang has the potential to beat all those guys, man. Adam says, Eric Molina rocked him, and yes, Brazil did get him. Brazil got scared of the power. He probably didn't realize he hurt Wilder. Yeah, I don't think Brazil realized he hurt him. Not at all. Adari Pennant says, Zhelei Zhang, Flip Hergovic, Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois, Wilder and Joshua, Tyson Fury and Usyk, and more, all very good fighters. Yeah, I agree with you. Zhang and Andy Ruiz would be good in China. You know what? Zhang and Andy Ruiz would be good in China. You know why? Because Andy Ruiz would go to China. You know what I'm saying? This is the problem Zhang is going to run into. Why would these guys go fight in China? Everyone right now, you know what they want to fight. Everybody wants to fight in Saudi Arabia. So what does Zhang bring to the table? An interim belt? Who the hell wants an interim belt? Now, China has, a very large population. And you can see that the people in China, they got up at 4:30, 5 o'clock a.m. to watch Zhelei Zhang fight. So you're going to get the support. That's a huge market that the zone just tapped into. A huge market. So they're going to put Zhang out there to fight. I know he's calling for Fury. Fury ain't going to mess with him in China. Fury got bigger plans in Saudi Arabia. But Zhang is going to be able to pick a big name and probably get him to go fight in China and make real money. And Andy Ruiz, that's a good fight because, and this is funny, right? Styles make fights. I think Zhang could beat Wilder. But Wilder's right hand is so crazy. But I think Zhang could beat Wilder. I think Zhang beats Anthony Joshua right now. And Anthony Joshua is just not the same. But Andy Ruiz will fight. Andy Ruiz has fast hands. Andy Ruiz knows how to fight southpaws. And the foot fight, Zhang lost the foot fight. I think Deontay Wilder will lose the foot fight too. I don't think Deontay Wilder, I think he would start off trying to keep his left foot outside of Zhang's right foot. But I think as the rounds go on, Deontay Wilder's going to stand there, is trying to get his right hand off or moving too much with this new lateral movement that he's come across. And I think Deontay Wilder is going to end up right there in the line of fire. And Zhang's going to, tranquilize him. And I'm not saying that, I'm not a bandwagonist. I've been watching Zhang for a while. But he showed me that he keeps it simple. He keeps it simple. He has a nice pace. He has a moderate output of punches. But he doesn't waste his shots. And then with a guy like Wilder, look, I fought southpaw. And I'm going to tell you, when these guys, and I used to get in the ring with some of these guys, some of those guys were taller than me, may have hit harder than me. But, the foot fight, once they lose the foot fight, it's over for them. I would tranquilize them. You know what I'm saying? And once you start hitting them and they can't understand how they're getting hit, you see they get discouraged, man. And a lot of times, it's the foot fight. They didn't even realize that the damn footing, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what will happen to Deontay Wilder. Let me get to some of these comments. He says, I wonder if Joe Joyce is still the boogeyman in the division. Do you still feel that way? I do. I feel Joe Joyce is still the boogeyman. I do. I just think with Joe Joyce, if he can go back and Joe Joyce works on his defense, like he's got to move his head, man. You know what I mean? Like that's all Joe Joyce should work on. It's just moving his head. He was getting hit with shots early in that fight, which Zhang had a full tank of gas. You know what I'm saying? He was all gas, no brakes, all power shots. And Zhang stumbled, but he didn't go down. And then he just kept coming forward. But he had took too much damage. I'm telling you, if the referee wouldn't have stopped that fight, and we got like 2 more rounds into it, I think the tide would have shifted. It was already shifted. You know, Joyce looked sloppy as hell though. I think that's because he was exhausted. I think he overworked himself, is what I think happened. And that's why he looked so damn exhausted. You know, we're so used to him looking like George Foreman in the ring, plodding along, coming slow and methodical, big heavy shots. But it didn't work. And just like Pennant says, hey, if he's gonna fight like George Foreman, he needs to at least use the cross arm guard. You know what I'm saying? That's a simple defensive mechanism that's highly effective. But at least teach him that. Because the head movement is something that just seems like he just doesn't want to do it. But at least teach Joe Joyce, if he's gonna fight like George Foreman, at least have the goddamn defense. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you 100%, Pennant. He needs to at least learn that. Let's say right here. I have a feeling Wilder will go back to his old ways depending on who he faces next. Yeah, I do too. I just think Wilder and Malik Scott, I think it's a respectable relationship. But I just think with Deontay Wilder, I think he's fantastic. I think look, we know he can punch, but I just feel sometimes you turn a lion into a pussycat. You know what I'm saying? Let the lion be the lion. Deontay Wilder's a lion. He now you got him in there being cute, tap dancing Sammy Davis Jr. in around the goddamn ring, and he gonna get clipped. I don't know if y'all saw that when he fought Helenius. Wilder threw a jab to the body. I think that was the first punch he threw. He threw a jab to the body because that's what they worked on in camp, and Helenius countered the shit out of him. And you could see in Wilder's face, he was like, like that shit hurt, and he immediately retreated and started, lateral movement and thinking, because he realized, okay, I can't do that. Because as soon as he do it, damn man, Helenius timed him. And when I saw that, I said, Wilder gonna lose this fight. But what happened. So that's good. But I just think I don't think what Wilder did was a result of learning anything new from Malik Scott. It had a whole lot to do with Helenius walking towards this massive power puncher with his damn hands down to his damn waist, which is stupid. All right? So it is what it is. He says if Joyce had decent head movement, he would be unstoppable. Yeah, he just needs defense, man. That's the truth. People out here saying, oh, the Joe Joyce was a hype train. He can't fight. He can't this. I mean, hold your horses. Somebody he never fought anybody. I just don't think that's something that we should be saying about Joe Joyce. I mean, that's like Boots Ennis. Most of these guys need an opportunity. Styles make fights. You look at Flip Hrgovic, right? Nobody had anything good to say about Flip Hrgovic. Most people didn't even know who he was until he fought Zhang. It was, over on the zone. Nobody knew who Flip Hrgovic was. Nobody even knows that Flip Hrgovic and Joe Joyce used to damn near kill each other as amateurs. Those fights are out there on YouTube. Nobody watches that. Nobody knows about that. But what I'll tell you is, Flip Hrgovic, right? He beat Zhang. Although the fight looked horrible for Hrgovic, he got the win, all right? That's the fact. He got the win. But styles make fights. Do you think Flip Hrgovic beats Joe Joyce? When him and Joe Joyce fought in the amateurs, I don't have that information in front of me, but I know that I think they were like 1-1, something like that. So styles make fights, and this isn't the amateurs anymore. But what I'm saying is, you could take Joyce and put him in with Hrgovic, and Joyce can beat Hrgovic, and Hrgovic beat Zhang. So, it's just styles, man. It's just like that damn Ricardo Mayorga beat Vernon Forrest, and Vernon Forrest tranquilized Shane Mosley. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And I think Vernon Forrest and Mayorga fought twice, and Forrest and Mosley fought twice. So it's just styles, man. Adam says, yeah, I agree. The best version of Wilder is having some combination abilities and then throwing the right hand rather than the 1-2 stuff he usually does. He said, Joyce fanboys taking it to the stupid. I'm not a fan of Joyce, but he's still legit. Yeah, man, Joe Joyce is legit. But I'll tell you what, you're talking about people taking it to the stupid. I don't know if you heard what Joe Goosen was saying about Ryan Garcia. Now, this is an extreme case of someone who refuses to hold their horses and not take it to the stupid. Joe Goosen and Oscar De La Hoya, I don't think they realize there's no need to sell the fight. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis sells itself. But now they coming out here, right? Goddamn, Ryan Garcia is Bionic Man. If you let them tell the story, Ryan Garcia is Bionic Man. First of all, Ryan Garcia is breaking hands in training camp. Anyone holding the mitts for Ryan Garcia, he's damn near breaking their hands, right? That's what they came out saying, which we all know that's a load of crap. If David Tua wasn't breaking hands and wrists, if Lennox Lewis wasn't breaking hands and wrists, Mike Tyson wasn't breaking hands and wrists, if Deontay Wilder, AJ, and the big Zhang not breaking hands and wrists when someone's holding their mitts, how the hell is Ryan Garcia breaking hands and mitts? So they just need to stop. Plus, Joe Goosen goes on, Flip Hergovic versus Jared Anderson would be a very good boxing match. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that here. But then you got Joe Goosen saying Ryan Garcia is out here sprinting. He could run 3/4 of a mile in an all-out sprint. You know how hard that is to do? To run 3 laps around a damn track in an all-out sprint? So they're trying to sell a fight and convince people that Ryan Garcia is too much for Tank Davis. I'm just not bought. I'm just not sold on that. But Pennant says Flip Hergovic versus Jared Anderson. Hey, I'm not sold on Jared Anderson, man. I'm not sold on that guy. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Joe Joyce in a sense. You know, he's strong. He's a come forward fighter, but he doesn't seem to have the best defense. And I think once he steps up, I think you're gonna get vaporized. I think you're gonna get tranquilized, man. You know, but I think Flip Hergovic against Jared Anderson, I think Flip Hergovic beats him. I think Flip Hergovic beats him, and he just really makes him look bad. You got to look at the amateur pedigree of Flip Hergovic, man. You got to look at what he brings to the table. He can really fight. And also, I think that fight can be made, but Flip Hergovic wants his shot. He wants his shot at them titles, man. But I do think the fight can be made only because Flip Hergovic, people are thinking that Flip Hergovic can't fight because they're looking at how he performed with Zhang. But I'm going to tell you right now, Flip Hergovic's dad had just died, and he didn't recover. And I think we'd all agree, man, you know, the loss of a loved one, that's rough. There's no tablet you can take, you know what I'm saying, to get over that crap. And he came in the ring, and it showed up that, you know, mentally he just wasn't there. And he still managed to get the win against Zhang. But now that he's 100%, Flip Hergovic is out here doing interviews, cussing Frank Warren, because everybody, I think people just really forgot that and were being insensitive to what he had gone through with losing his dad. But Flip Hergovic is extremely healthy, and I think he beats Jared Anderson. No doubt about that. Flip Hergovic against Frank Sanchez, Florida guy. Hergovic suit. You gotta explain what you mean by that, Florida guy. But Flip Hergovic, Frank Sanchez. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Flip Hergovic will eventually, you know, cut the ring off, work behind those long arms. Hergovic fights like that damn Klitschko, but he's more agile. He's more agile. But I think Hergovic can beat Frank Sanchez by decision. I just think Frank Sanchez will lose too many rounds, being afraid to try to come in and get his shots off. I think, you know, whenever he comes in, Hergovic will touch him. Because when he comes in, Hergovic just takes a step back. Those long arms, those long legs, he's just going to be able to get to Frank Sanchez. So I think Frank Sanchez will be too discouraged to try to close the distance on Hergovic. And I think Hergovic beats Frank Sanchez rather easily, to be honest with you. Florida guy says, Hergovic sure does look good, like a good fighter now. Hell yeah, he does. You know, and I can't wait to see him get back in the ring. But Hergovic is so angry and so pissed off right now that when Hergovic does return to the ring, he may have too many of them inactivity barnacles clinging to him. He's going to have to pry those off through a whole lot of training. and possibly a tune-up fight. Because for Flip Hrgovic to want to jump in the ring after being out the ring, going on over a year, that's not good, man. That's not good. You got to stay active. You just can't do that. Florida guy says Hrgovic looks way better of a fighter now than we saw Zhang do what he did to Joyce. Yeah, that says a lot about Hrgovic. That's why Hrgovic is out here on social media and he's ranting and raving. Hrgovic is out here letting people know. If you're gonna sit here now, because this is how Hrgovic sees it, and I don't blame Hrgovic. Could you imagine, right? He beat Zhang, okay, but then also in sparring, he was destroying Daniel Dubois. He beat Daniel Dubois so bad in sparring that there was a fight. I don't know. I think it was the Jennings fight, whatever fight. But he beat Daniel Dubois so bad in sparring, they had to delay Daniel Dubois' fight. No one knows about that. Frank Warren knows. And that's why Hrgovic is sitting here right now. Imagine being Hrgovic, right? He's watching Dubois about to fight Usyk for a possible unified championships. And he's saying to himself, hold on, I destroyed this guy. I beat him so bad in sparring that they had to delay his fight because I injured him that badly, right? But he's sitting back here on the sideline watching someone whose ass he kicked go on to get an opportunity to, because anything can happen in a boxing match. I don't think Dubois can handle Usyk, but anything can happen. Hrgovic's watching that saying, that's not cool. That should be me. In addition to that, Hrgovic sitting here looking, he like, shit, I just beat Zhang. But Zhang is out here because he's from China, possibly going to China in his next fight and calling out Tyson Fury. And there's a chance he could get Tyson Fury for the WBC strap. And he's like, I just beat him. So Hrgovic's sitting there watching this and he's pissed off. And I don't blame him. He has every right to be mad because we all know, man, boxing, politics, the secret society. They do what they want. They do what they want, man. But for Flip Hrgovic, I just think whoever he gets his hands on next, if he's able to stay active, in the gym and sparring, I think Flip Hrgovic is going to put himself on the map. He just needs an opportunity. He just needs an opportunity now. And I hope he gets his opportunity. Because what we're seeing here is a transition. Let me get to this comment real quick, but we're going to talk about it. What we're seeing going on right now is that the transition is taking place, people, man, with the heavyweights and everything. It is. Adam says, Frank Sanchez needs a shot with an elite heavyweight. He needs to put that record on the line. I think it's a good test for Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez. Yeah, Frank Sanchez against anybody is a great test. Him fighting Konaki, Jared Anderson, him fighting any of them cats. Flip Hrgovic, him fighting even Zhang. But the problem is this. They're trying, this is what sucks about being in Frank Sanchez's position. What I'm telling you is a fact. A lot of these content creators, they just be out here talking out their ass. I'm telling you is what I'm getting this from articles, all right? So don't shoot me. But Frank Sanchez and what's his name, man? Chris Arreola. That's the fight they're trying to make for the summer. Now you tell me, with a guy like Frank Sanchez, with all that talent, right? All of that talent. The last couple of years we're watching him just thinking he's going to fight a big fight, get a shot at the title. Why in the hell would they put him in the ring with Chris Arreola? Come on, man. You're supposed to move up the ladder, not reverse. They got Frank Sanchez moving down the ladder. And if you're going to sit there and say, you know what, we're not going to put him in with Charles Martin. We're not going to put him in with F.A. Akjaba. Put him in with Luis Ortiz. Cuba versus Cuba. But they may not want to do that. Crazy. Frank Sanchez is a problem anyway. Yeah, Frank Sanchez has the goods. In addition to that, Frank Sanchez, you know who he's back with? He's back with Eddie Reynoso. He went over there to Joe Goosen and didn't like what was going on over there. He's back with Eddie Reynoso. And this goes back to what we were just talking about. You got these fighters who are bouncing from trainer to trainer, man. Eddie Reynoso's a good trainer. He is. That's what Ryan Garcia did. He jumped because Ryan Garcia wanted to have all eyes on him. But I'm going to tell you right now, with them heavyweights, let me see if, I don't even think I have that up. But them heavyweights, man, I think at the end of this year, that whole racket stack that we're seeing, I think it's all going to change. I think it's all going to change. You know, right now, if I name off the top 4 heavyweights, I would say still Wilder. I'd say Fury's number 1. Well, I'd say Usyk's number 1, then Fury, then Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Joyce did. He found out the hard way. But I would say Usyk, Fury, Wilder are the top 3. But to give you a top 4, I can't put AJ as number 4. There is no number 4 anymore. There's just 3. You know what I'm saying? AJ, Joyce, you know, Zhang, Hrgovic, Frank Sanchez, Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz, all those guys to me are all there like that Dillian White, Derek Chisora. They're like, you got the A-listers and B-listers. To me, they're B-listers. You know what I mean? The A-team and B-team. They're B-team, in my opinion. Now Zhang seemed like he's ready to make that leap. So where before we were talking about the 4 horsemen was Fury, Usyk, Wilder, and AJ. To me, AJ's dropped off. That last performance, I'm telling you, I know he beat Zhang in the Olympics. Zhang will tranquilize AJ right now. And something else, that's a fact, right? What I'm about to tell you is a fact. Anthony Joshua had the opportunity to fight Zhelei Zhang instead of Jermaine Franklin. He put duck sauce on the fried rice. Didn't take the fight. Derek Chisora, big mouth Derek Chisora, talking about he wants to continue fighting and everything. Derek Chisora also turned down the fight with Zhelei Zhang. He put duck sauce on the fried rice. Dillian White, Mr. Deontay Wilder ducked me for all these years when I was his mandatory. Deontay Wilder scared of me. Mr., you know, I'll shoot somebody, I'll this, right? Dillian White, supposed to be Al Capone if you let him tell the story. Dillian White had the opportunity to fight Zhelei Zhang. Dillian White put duck sauce on the fried rice. That's what I'm telling you is a fact. Zhelei Zhang and his manager came out and they talked about that. So you know what's so ironic about it all? Nobody wanted to fight Zhelei Zhang, but nobody wanted to fight Joe Joyce either. But now that Joe Joyce lost to Zhelei Zhang, who do you think Dillian White's calling out? Now he's calling out Joe Joyce. And what Dillian White's saying is he knows he can knock out Joe Joyce. And I think Joe Joyce destroys Derek Chisora, and I think Joe Joyce would destroy Dillian White. And I think Zhang tranquilizes Chisora, and he tranquilizes Dillian White. That's it. That's why they didn't want to fight him. And then Dillian White was also saying he wants to fight Joe Joyce because Anthony Joshua's not going to fight him in the summer. But I'm going to tell you right now, Pennant says Zhelei Zhang would knock out Derek Chisora. Yeah, he would knock him out. And Eric Black, what's going on? He says Zhang need to fight somebody like Ruiz or Ortiz or Franklin or Anderson for that matter. Zhang need to fight some. I agree with what you're saying. Eric Black 60. I think Zhang against Ruiz is a good fight. I think Ortiz is a good fight. Jermaine Franklin, I think Zhang is ready for that next step. You know, he's got that title. I don't think Zhang needs I'm not disagreeing with you wholeheartedly. I'm just saying I think that's like moving down the ladder. You know what I'm saying? I think Zhang wants to keep moving up the ladder. But Franklin can fight. Franklin and Jared Anderson is the fight to make, in my opinion, but I know what you're saying. But to me, Zhang is right there with Wilder, Usyk, and Fury. I think Zhang beats AJ. And I just think Zhang is kind of caught in the middle between like the B team and the A team. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy who, when the A team has a game, they'll bring him and let him come get some minutes, but they don't quite put him on the team yet. But with B team, they know he's better than those guys, but they just don't have space for the A team. That's where I think Zhang is. So I don't think he wants to sit there, man, and play around with those guys. But I agree with you 100% when it comes to what you're saying about Zhang. Let me see what he says here. But Andy Ruiz is a problem. I think Andy Ruiz stylistically is the worst fight for Zhang, because if Andy Ruiz can get past, he has good head movement, and if he can get in close, he's letting those hands go. And Andy Ruiz has better stamina, a lot better stamina than Zhang. So that could be a nightmare for the Big Bang. Jay Adams, he says, Zhang is an A tier above AJ, no doubt. AJ did a good job not fighting. That's right. He made a smart decision. His career would have been over 3 weeks ago. Yeah, no doubt about that. Cool Breeze says, Del Boy is nothing more than a step up for prospects. Hell yeah, he's a gatekeeper. I don't know why they even let him, I don't even know why they let I don't even know why they letting him fight. You know, there's a, that rumor about that event that's supposed to be taking place in Saudi Arabia. That's rooted in substance. Wilder, AJ, Fury, Usyk. Then the other rumor is Dillian White, Derek Chisora, and there's two other names I can't remember. I read it today. It's supposed to be the Wilder, AJ, Fury, Usyk. Those four on one fight card. Isn't that crazy? So you're gonna have Wilder and AJ fight first, then Fury and Usyk fight second. So that's the co-main and the main. But they're also looking to bring some other heavyweights on to fight. I think Chisora was one. Dillian White was one. I can't remember if Flip Hergovic, I don't know, but I can't remember the other names. But it's supposed to be like another set of, like we talk about A team, B team, of like B team type heavyweights. Big names though to fight in Saudi. I think Andy Ruiz was one as well. So that's what they're looking at doing. But when we talk about Derek Chisora, he doesn't need to be fighting anymore at all, man. Some people think that I'm wrong to say this, but we're just having a conversation, man. We're all adults here. Nobody here cussing, insulting each other, using inappropriate language. We're just talking. We can disagree. But if you disagree, that's cool. Just let me know. But I think Derek Chisora, 15 years from now, is going to be that guy who may be suffering from Parkinson or, has memory loss or slurred speech because he's taking too much damage. He shouldn't be fighting no more. That's my opinion. But the man likes money. It is what it is. But that's how I feel about Derek Chisora. My boy Adari Pennant says, Derek Chisora, Kubrat Pulev, Manuel Char need to retire from boxing forever. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Pulev, man, Emmanuel Char, even Brian Jennings, man. They just need to go on. Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, their shelf life expired. You just sitting there getting punched around for what? They're not going. It's like Andy. You know who else is kind of in that window where they're going to stop getting the $1 million paydays? Is Andy Ruiz. I think Luis Ortiz already dropped out of that window. Charles Martin been dropped out of that window. You know what I'm saying? They're no longer in those windows to get those big paydays. So you're right. And you got to imagine Derek Chisora is only holding on because of his relationship with Eddie Hearn and because the people in the UK come out to support him. You know what I'm saying? He's like a, what's that man called? Folklore, right? He's like one of those kind of guys. He's like a Paul Bunyan out there, so he still gets the support and he generates the kind of gates where he can get 1 or 2 million for a fight. But I think his shelf life has expired as well. Eric Black says, I feel AJ not going to get the credit he deserves till he fights Wilder like he's supposed to have years ago. Yeah, that's a fight that needs to happen. But I'm going to tell you this. This is my opinion, man. I agree with you 100%. But if AJ comes out there looking tentative, throwing, you know how strong AJ is, man? They say that man has freakish power. We've seen it in the ring. But you that big and that strong, you scared to punch? You're throwing arm shots, your right hands, that's your backhand, that's your power hand. He's throwing arm shots. He's afraid to get his waist into it because he's afraid that the shot may not land, and now he gets countered because Andy Ruiz tattooed his ass up, because Usyk tattooed his ass up. So now big AJ still out here scared to fight. Now some people felt Anthony Joshua, they felt he fought like Earl Spence against Jermaine Franklin. He stayed busy, he was defensively responsible, and he did enough to win the fight. I don't know if I quite agree with that, but I see what they're saying. Earl Spence, if he realizes that you're outmatched, that you're outgunned, Earl Spence is going to try to evaporate you. So I ain't too really sold on this whole thing about Anthony Joshua is fighting like Earl Spence now. We'll have to see how he looks in his next couple fights. But I tell you what, Anthony Joshua, does he have? To me, Anthony Joshua should be dominating the heavyweight division. What is he, 6'7", 6'6", 250, 60 plus pounds? Extremely strong, extremely athletic, has an outstanding skill set, right? He has everything you want in a heavyweight champion. But there's something going on up here. You know what I'm saying? Something going on up here. And Andy Ruiz has something to do with that. He has something to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he has a whole lot to do with that. Let me see what we got here in the thing. I forgot. Florida guy says Wilder versus Zhang. That's who lands first, man. That's Southpaw Orthodox. That's left hand versus right hand. That's the foot fight battle right there, man. Florida guy. That's a foot fight battle. Who's gonna get their foot on the outside, or who's gonna keep theirs on the inside? Who's gonna keep the other person lined up? You know what I'm saying? And when I think of it like that, I give the advantage to Zhelei Zhang, and I think Wilder can knock him out, no doubt about that. But I just think Zhang is disciplined. He's not learning a bunch of new things. He just keeps polishing up the skills that he has, and the whole thing with Zhang. And he said it before the fight, and he did it with Hrgovic. Zhang, that right hand is just to keep you busy. That left hand, straight left hand, or the straight left hand to the head, straight left hand to the body, come back with the clean up right hook. That's Zhang. And then change angles. Move back, come forward, step to the side, they come out to the left. His whole thing is setting traps. That's what Zhang does, and trying to manage his stamina. That's Zhang. Simple, but effective. Deontay Wilder, I don't think quite really understands the foot fight. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think he understands the foot fight. And he getting there with Zhang. I hope they make that fight, because we're going to see something. People keep talking about Deontay Wilder's been exposed. He can't fight. Look, he won a bronze medal. He's doing something right. When Deontay Wilder, this is what we got to be fair, man. I think Zhang will win the foot fight and knock him out. I do. I think Wilder's not going to really understand what's going on with this southpaw. He struggled with Luis Ortiz. He struggled with the Polish guy, Spilka. He struggled with left-handers. You got Zhelei Zhang now? Zhangzilla? Come on, man. So it's just a problem for him. But what I was getting at when I was talking about Deontay Wilder, I was about to say something, man. I didn't sit here and had a damn brain fart, man. We were talking about Wilder and Zhang. What the hell was I about to tell y'all about Wilder and Zhang? Something I was gonna tell you that I just heard about when it come to Deontay Wilder. I don't know. As I talk, it'll come back to me. But I was gonna tell y'all something about Deontay Wilder. But anyway, I'll come back to that. He says Wilder versus Zhang. Ruiz would have had to take one of Zhang's shots if he gets inside. Ruiz isn't an explosive fighter. When trying to get inside, I think Ruiz will get knocked down. Yeah, I could see Ruiz getting knocked down by Zhang. He's gone down from what's his name? Areola put him down. Luis Ortiz put him down. So I think Zhang may put him down and out. But I know what I was saying with Wilder. Look at how big Zhang is. Zhangzilla. So if Wilder, the thing about Wilder, we're talking about being fair to him, right? When he fought Bermane Stiverne in the first fight, remember nobody gave Wilder credit for his boxing ability of being able to go a full 12 rounds. When he fought Bermane Stiverne, that was the in shape Bermane Stiverne, the Bermane Stiverne that was a monster. So we got to give credit to Wilder for that first fight with Stiverne. And then that second fight with Stavern, that's still the Stavern that had just, clipped Ariola, was still a monster. And we saw what Wilder did to him. The jab, I remember the commentators, the same ones now who make fun of Deontay Wilder. They were saying how Deontay Wilder, he was looking like Larry Holmes in the ring. I remember how they were talking about him. But then after that fight, all of a sudden it goes back to Wilder. He doesn't have any skills. He just has power. He's limited because he got in there with Tyson Fury. And across those 3 fights, what happened, happened. But what I say to that is, Tyson Fury's 6'9", is the reach, everything. That whole dynamic created a bit of an issue for Tyson Fury, just like Deontay Wilder's height and reach and power created a bit of an issue for Tyson Fury. So we just got to be fair to Wilder. Wilder has skills. But when he gets in there with Zhang, I still think Wilder struggled with the foot fight. And because Zhang has an 80-plus inch reach and is the same height as Wilder, I think he's going to touch Wilder because Wilder, I don't think he really understands his distance yet. But if Wilder can get a shot off, then maybe nights out for Zhelei Zhang. Let's see what we got here. Oh, and Ruiz, yeah, I think Ruiz has a good shot against Zhang. If he can get past that damn left hand and let his hands go. But if Luis Ortiz was touching up Ruiz with that straight right, if there was one more round left in that fight with Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz would have beat him because he was starting to touch him up. And Zhang is much bigger, hits much harder. So I actually think this may be the fight for Zhang to be careful early because Ruiz is extremely dangerous early, even later. But when early in the fight, just like Zhang, he has his stamina, he has his strength, he has his wits about him, and he's explosive and aggressive. So that will be a very interesting fight, Ruiz against Zhang. We get to some of the comments. Eric Black 60 says, I forgot Big Frank Sanchez. Sanchez and Zhang would be a battle. It would be interesting, man. I think Sanchez would the first 4, 5, 6 rounds. He's not gonna get crazy. He's gonna remain disciplined. The fight may be boring, but Zhang may try to cut the ring off and go after him. But at some point, once you see Zhang start swallowing air like he was doing in that damn fight with Joyce, and Sanchez start to put that heat on him, then it could be downhill for Zhang. Because Zhang, although he had the kidney issues and he was dehydrated several fights ago, it's still too much. That's Zhangzilla, man. Almost 300 pounds chasing somebody around the ring. At some point, man, your body just gonna give out. That's just too much body to be moving around to Zhang to chase Frank Sanchez. That's crazy, man. Adari Pinna says Tyson Fury versus Usyk, Anthony Joshua versus Wilder, Dillian White versus Gerald Miller on the same card would be awesome. You know what? I agree. I think you said that another time. Let me tell you something. The one guy, I ain't gonna lie, I would like to see Gerald Miller fighting some of these big names. I don't think he deserves it, but I still would like to see it. Because with him, he's got a chin, he's got a big mouth, and he's going to come to fight. But how nice it would be to see him go out there and get tranquilized by Deontay Wilder, or Anthony Joshua, or by Zhelei Zhang. Because, obviously he's not on those peds anymore. He still has a, good chin, a high work rate. And there was a part of me for a while that felt like, maybe Miller wasn't cheating. Maybe something happened. But, man, the type of peds that he got busted for, my understanding, is in order to get that into your system, you have to have it injected into you. You don't get that shit from shaking hands or eating eggs like Connor Hen. You know what I'm saying? You just don't go eat a bunch of goddamn boiled eggs and then end up with clomiphene. You know what I mean? Just like Gerald Miller, you just don't go out there and pop a tablet and pop up hot for 3 different type of damn prohibited substances. So they took it to the stupid on that one. You know what I'm saying? But I think Miller, throw him in the mix. He just fought in the Middle East, didn't he? He just fought Lucas Brown in Dubai or somewhere. So he's out there getting that Arab money. Let him keep getting that Arab money on the fight card. Everyone's going to be tuning into that. I tell you that. If he's out there fighting one of these big names out there, everyone's going to tune into that. They're going to want to see what the hell's going on with him. And he's going to help sell the fight. But he may not get those shots because he keeps burning bridges. His mouth is too big. He doesn't know how to shut up. Disrespecting Eddie Hearn, disrespecting Al Heyman, disrespecting Frank Warren. He's disrespecting Bob Arum. He's just being very, vile to all these hands that could possibly feed him. Who's going to want to sit there, man, and help him? And what fighter is going to want to put money in his pocket, food in his mouth, when he's sitting here, man, just being horrible? The one thing with Shannon Briggs, he didn't talk so crazy about him. He was just like, let's go, champ. He would try to get under their skin, but he wasn't like, Gerald Miller's just a little too extra for me, man. A little too extra. Let me see what my boy Adam says. There was a channel I seen today that said AJ didn't have power. They said AJ only knocks people out after consecutive punches to the opponent's face. Whoever said that about AJ took it to the stupid. They obviously had a bowl of dumbass for breakfast. Anthony Joshua can tranquilize you, same way Deontay Wilder can. So these guys start talking this nonsense, man. I don't get it, man. But no, that's not true at all. Anthony Joshua can tranquilize you, no doubt about that. Adam says AJ is the most talented. I agree. He would have beaten Wilder pre-Andy Ruiz. Oh yeah, I think so. That AJ with the confidence. But the thing is, I feel AJ would have had to do that within the first 3 rounds. Like, you just got to come out like Daniel Jacobs on Peter Quillen. You just got to jump on him. Like, that's what I think even now. For a guy like Wilder, anyone who's going to fight Wilder, if they can crack, jump on him early. Because now there's some risk involved. You got to insult the crocodile before you cross that bridge. And if you insult that crocodile and you don't get across that bridge, that crocodile gonna bite you in the ass. But I think for these guys, a guy like AJ, jump on Wilder, catch him cold, and I think he'd have some success. Same way Daniel Jacobs jumped on Peter Quillen cold, caught him cold. Peter Quillen was a big time puncher. He was undefeated at the time, knocking everybody out. Daniel Jacobs, just coming off of a loss, getting over cancer. Getting himself back in title contention, was looking good, and people were actually favoring Quillen for that fight. Jacobs just jumped on him, caught him cold, and got him out of there. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. The AJ that lets his hands go is the AJ that can beat everybody, but he's got to make his mind up on what he wants to do. There's chances make champions, right? You don't want to take any chances, you're going to become a champion. Right? Scared man can't win. You got to quit running scared. You know what I'm saying? Boy, Adam said, yeah, facts. Says Gerald Miller, best win was his last fight, and it was a trash win. Maybe Gerald Washington was second. Gerald Washington was second. But Miller's supposed to return to the ring soon. I'm just not sure who's going to be. Andy Ruiz versus Gerald Miller would be fireworks. Andy Ruiz and Gerald Miller were supposed to fight before. But that fell apart. But that would be a good fight. But I'm gonna tell you, the problem with making that fight is it's like Zhang moving down the ladder and fighting Hrgovic again or fighting Jared Anderson. Them guys just want to move up. Zhelei Zhang wants to fight either Usyk, Fury, or Wilder. Simple. He wants that. He doesn't want to move down the ladder. Andy Ruiz, same thing. He wants to move up the ladder. He doesn't want to move down, even though his reality is Andy Ruiz is the B team now. And that's where he is. But in his mind, he still thinks he's an A-lister. But that whole thing where the whole fluke, him going out there and Joshua underestimating him and Joshua trying to be cute up there in Madison Square Garden and Andy Ruiz picking up all those belts, becoming the first Mexican heavyweight champion of the world, that's over. He couldn't even keep the damn belts. He lost them shits the next fight. So, but Andy Ruiz, he's still riding that wave. But I just think it's going to come crashing in, and the tide's going to recede, and he's going to be sitting there on land, and he's going to have to figure out how to walk because he ain't swimming around in this heavyweight division no more. He's on land. He may better learn to hitchhike. And he says here, Adam says Miller calls out people that are mentally broken. Yeah, Miller just looking for an opportunity, man. When somebody's starving, they'll eat anything, won't they? They could be in a house, they could have a tangerine that's spoiled with ants crawling all over it. They'll turn off the lights and eat the rotten tangerine just so they don't have to see it. But, they got something in their stomach, right? And that's how Miller is. He doesn't care who he fights. He just wants to fight. This man went through a lot, and I'm not making light of it. Wife gone, kids, lost they missed out on 5-6 million, divorced, just a couple of years without being able to make any money. So he's in bad shape. He's trying to rebuild, so I can't blame him. But he's not helping himself by being so nasty and disrespectful to everyone. But I'd watch him. I ain't gonna lie, I'd watch him. Pivot says, what about Frank Sanchez versus Gerald Miller? I think Frank Sanchez, man, would beat Gerald Miller no problem. It'll go to distance. But Frank Sanchez without boxing him just make him look stupid. You know what I'm saying? Gerald Miller looks sloppy, man. No, he just looks sloppy now. It is what it is. Florida guy, 1919. AJ can get his head together and beat all of them. I think AJ can do it. He's in the right camp. You got to think. I know you guys probably have heard people say this before, but he's sitting in the camp with Jermell Charlo, undisputed champion at 154. Right? Jermell Charlo is a real champion. That man, people can say what they want. He fought and he earned those belts. They can say, oh, well, Castaño beat him the first fight. Look, Castaño lost his right to complain. They should have knocked him out. It was a close fight. Could have went either way. Is what it is. Just like when he fought Harrison, is what it is. But Charlo, in camp with AJ, that's got to make AJ feel a kind of way. Then you got Earl Spence out there. That's got to make AJ feel a kind of way. To see these lions running around there with this mentality. They don't care if it's an adult gazelle, if it's a baby gazelle, if it's an injured gazelle. They're gonna eat it. They're carnivores. They don't care. Seek and destroy. They're not gonna come out. They ain't become herbivores now. Carnivores supposed to be eating meat. They ain't out here looking for heads of lettuce and shit, eating eggplants, man. Nah. And I think that's going to help Anthony Joshua, being around those carnivores, being around those lions. And then you got Frank Martin. People can say what they want. Frank Martin, to me, he passes the eye test and he's the real deal. And I think Frank Martin is going to make some noise at 135. But you got Anthony Joshua sitting there with these three fighters around him and Derek James. That's got to do something for his mental. But I'm going to tell you what's going to cause the problem. I'm going to tell you what's going to cause the problem for Anthony Joshua is Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is going to cause a problem because you see when Eddie Hearn went down there, he went down there to check on Anthony Joshua. What I'm telling you is a fact, right? He went down there to check on Anthony Joshua. He goes into the gym, sees AJ, Derek James, whatever. By the time he goes in there, he sees Earl Spence sparring. Earl Spence sparred like 12, 13, 14 hard rounds. Eddie Hearn sat there and he got a chance to just watch it because AJ's there. So, he's Eddie Hearn coming to the gym. What does Eddie Hearn do? Soon as he leaves, gets his ass back to the UK, a camera gets put in his face. He's talking about AJ and the conditions of the training camp, and it's very basic, nothing compared to the Olympic style gyms that AJ was training in with the scientists and all this other crap AJ had around him in the UK. Eddie Hearn goes and starts saying, oh, and I had a chance to watch Earl Spence surprisingly spar 12 hard rounds. And what a guy like me, when I hear that, shit, AJ, if he doesn't have a fight coming up, why in the world is EJ, Earl Spence, if he doesn't have a fight coming up, why is he sparring 12 hard rounds? So that pissed off Derek James because it wasn't Eddie Hearn's place because they don't have cameras in there. No one knows what Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford are doing. There's no interviews happening in training camps. These guys aren't talking about if they have a fight, if they don't. It's been radio silence across social media. There's a reason for that. But then Eddie Hearn goes out here and he runs his mouth and spills the beans. And then like a week, 2 weeks later, they come out with a fight announcement that the fight's supposed to be taking place June 17th. Now, is it going to happen? I don't know. But what I'm saying is if Eddie Hearn doesn't learn to listen a lot more and talk very little when it comes to Derek James, the guys he's training, I think Derek James is going to create some issues. But my understanding is Derek James doesn't have a problem kicking nobody out of his gym. So that, as much as he wants to have a good rapport with Eddie Hearn, he's not going to let Eddie Hearn come out there fast Eddie with his big mouth and start talking about things that he has no business. because Eddie Hearn has nothing to do with with Earl Spence. He has nothing to do with Frank Martin. He has nothing to do with Jermell Charlo. That being said, Eddie Hearn really shouldn't be saying anything about them. But I think he learned his lesson, and going forward, I think we're going to notice that Eddie Hearn's not going to talk about any of those three guys as far as what he's seeing when he's in that training camp, because that rubbed Derrick James the wrong way. Adam says, last time somebody attacked Wilder Powers was Helenius. He reached, Wilder teaches, but Helenius isn't on AJ level, so I agree with you. Yeah, but also, Helenius had his damn hands down. But I agree, yeah, Helenius and AJ, that's two different levels. But Helenius had his hands down by his damn waist. And Wilder, tranquilized him. So that was just crazy. And I think Helenius had an opportunity to make the fight interesting. But you just don't run in against Wilder with your hands down around your waist. That's just suicide. Adam says, Andy Ruiz struggling to get out of 800K Cadillac and getting dropped by Ruiz. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about that, man. Andy Ruiz and struggling with Luis Ortiz, the 800,000-mile Cuban Cadillac. Getting dropped by Arreola showed that he caught AJ off guard. I agree. I think Andy Ruiz could fight, because that fight Andy Ruiz had before he fought AJ, he fought a big European fighter. I can't remember his name. It's something off. That's how the last name ended with, man. But Andy Ruiz beat him down. And I knew Andy Ruiz could fight. And I told people that Andy Ruiz may win this fight. He can fight if he can get past that power. And, AJ just got carried away. And Andy Ruiz taught his ass a lesson. But, I agree with you 100%, man. If Andy Ruiz is out here getting touched up the way he was, that just shows that was the fight for Anthony Joshua to look good against. But he rushed it because he was trying to outdo the Deontay Wilder knockout, how Deontay Wilder knocked out Brazil. And it backfired on AJ. Young Elder says Zhang can actually box also. Yeah, no doubt about that, Young Elder, man. Zhang got the skills, man. Skills to pay the bills, silver medalist. Keeps it simple but effective. Angles, boom. He don't even really throw the jab. That jab is just to parry shots, deflect shots, keep you occupied. He throws that straight left up top, throws that straight left down to the body, comes up with the hook. Then change his position, setting traps. That's all he does. And he's able to get to guys because he got that 80-plus inch reach. And his hands are like bowling balls. So, yeah, Zhang is a problem for anybody, and he proved that. Jay Adams says, he agrees. Yeah, we both agree with you, man. Adari Pennant says, can heavyweight boxing be popular like the NFL, basketball, baseball, if it was pushed properly in America? Man, I don't know much about the dealings behind baseball, the dealings behind football, the dealings behind basketball. But what I do know is there's a lot of money behind those sports. But also, there's a lot of money behind boxing, but in order for it to become mainstream like those other sports, and this is just my opinion, and remember, I have limited knowledge on this, so my answer may not be as in-depth as someone who really studies the intricacies of what takes place behind the scenes with basketball, baseball, and football. But I think in order for them, for boxing to go mainstream like that, the best need to fight the best. When people keep talking about Mayweather and Pacquiao, because that was something that captured the imagination. Oscar De La Hoya and Pacquiao captured the imagination. Even right now, what's his name? Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. It's capturing the imagination. You know what I'm saying? As long as they keep making these big fights, it's going to keep capturing the imagination. Shit shut down for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. But they got to keep having the best fight the best. And a good example is the UFC. Look at the UFC, man. They can't, it's impossible for them to get it wrong. Everything they do is a home run. And you just look at their business model. Champions fight champions, or champions fight the top contenders. If you're winning, you fight. And if you have losses, it doesn't matter because the best fight the best. And the fans support that. They see at every event they're seeing great fights, best fighting the best. It's not like that in boxing. You know, boxing, you got the sanction bodies, and each sanction body has its own set of rules. Guys can go a whole year without defending the belt. You can have situations like Jamal Charlo, 2+ years not defending the belt. And, you know, basically that creates bottlenecks in the division because you had this belt that's not being defended, and guys who are mandatories, etc., they're just sitting there waiting for an opportunity. Some go out there and fight and lose, and now they lose their mandatory position because they had a fight to make money. They can't afford to wait on a guy like Jamal, and they lose, and now, you know, it's hard to move back up into that position. So that's what I think. I think the best definitely need to fight the best, and I think that can get it back in mainstream. I also need to figure out a way to put it back on TV for free. Nobody wants to keep paying all this damn. And to me, the pay-per-view isn't ridiculous, but bottom line is a lot of people don't want to pay that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? $50, $80, $70 every other month, paying that. Sometimes month after month, people don't want to pay it. And you figure if someone's paying $50 a month for a pay-per-view event, you know, that's $600 over the year. I mean, that could take a pound of flesh out of you. So I understand. My boy Pennant says Zhang is a very good boxer. Yeah, I think everybody realizes that now. I understand Joyce isn't the best defensively. He's not the fastest. He looked rather sloppy in there and lethargic. But you still have to have some skills to pull off what Zhang was able to pull off. And what Zhang was able to do to Hrgovic and his previous opponents. But Zhang's in that window now to where it's like, all right, put up or shut up. Because we're going to find out what Zhang is made of. We know he's got skills. We know he's got power. But what happens now when he goes up with the elite? Okay? If he's going to fight Wilder's elite. Let's see what happens. If he's going to fight AJ, I think he's more B-level, but he's still considered elite. See what happens. He fights Usyk or Fury. We're going to see. And then we'll know exactly what's going on with Zhang. Adam says, my heart started pounding when I saw Joyce stumble across the ring with that big Zhang punch. I thought he was going to hit the canvas. Oh, I thought he was going down too. I think if the referee wouldn't have gave him a little time to think, to breathe, I think Zhang would have dropped him. Zhang knew it too. Zhang was going after him. But the referee prevented Zhang from stir-frying Joyce. And Joyce got to live another 4 rounds. Pennant says UFC is pointless because they knock out a lot of people with their hands. Might as well do boxing and make big millions that way. Yeah, that UFC business model is good for them to make sure they're making the best fights. It's a dictatorship over there, but as far as the money, the fighters, with the type of damage those fighters take, they don't make enough money. To get kicked in your mouth, kneed in your mouth, elbowed in your face, they don't make enough money. It's crazy. WBC and WBA should join forces, merge partnerships, work together, and make a heavyweight belt. Call it the WBCA. Yeah, they should, because they're the two biggest organizations, and they seem to be the most active and have the loudest voices and the longest reach. So yeah, I always wonder, man. You know, I understand some have been around longer. You know, the WBO has some funky rules, and the IBF nobody really takes serious. But I could see where the WBC and WBA, you know, could work together. But I know, if I remember correctly, I just did a video on this like 4 months back. But I shouldn't talk about it unless I had the information in front of me. But I think the WBC and WBA, I think the WBA broke off. There was some feud. I don't know which sanctioning bodies they were, but anyway, it was as a result of some feud. I think one of those sanctioning bodies were formed. I think it's the WBA, and where you had a WBC and then the WBA, and they wouldn't work together. Then it came around years later, decided to kind of work together and, you know, and get beyond those rifts that they had. But I think there was a time where whoever is running the WBA was actually working under the WBC, but there were some rifts, and he went and formed the WBA. But I could be wrong, but I know there was something like that with the sanctioned bodies. I could have it wrong with which ones they were. My boy Pennant says Joe Joyce will be all right. He can come back and become heavyweight champion of the world. Oh yeah, man, Joe Joyce can do it. He could come back and become a heavyweight champion of the world, no doubt about that. He can do it, no problem, man. But he ain't gonna do it if he don't work on that head movement. Even if he's trying to be strategic, like Adrian Broner moving up 4 weight division and picking the right fight. There is no right fight for Joe Joyce to pick to get a belt. You know, he's gonna have to fight killers, and if he can't move his head, he may be in trouble. Adam says, "You think Francis Ngannou should fight Wilder, even though Wilder will tranquilize him?" I think Wilder and Francis should fight because they both seem to have some things in common when it comes to the pride they have about who they are. And I can see them getting in the ring to fight to make money. You know, Wilder, only reason he fought Luis Ortiz, remember Luis Ortiz had tested positive for some banned substance. And he still came and fought Luis Ortiz because Luis Ortiz's situation with his daughter. Fought him twice to put money in his pocket, make sure he could take care of his daughter, man. So Wilder's heart, whether you like Wilder or not, his heart is made up a little different. But I could see him looking at Francis Ngannou and saying, damn, they really did this man wrong. This African who left his country, traveled, that whole trek that Ngannou made. If y'all haven't seen the documentary on him, go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's crazy. But anyway, that trek from Cameroon out there to France, crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I can see Wilder looking at the whole story and giving him an opportunity. But Wilder and Ngannou, they're going to make huge money for that fight. But I think Wilder would do it. And Ngannou's training. He's training with in Vegas with that guy Dewey whatever. He's always in the Mayweather's camp. He's got the long dreads with the rough voice. He's training with him. So Ngannou's trying to become a boxer. But he messed around with Wilder. I think Ngannou's tough. I think he can crack. But if he hasn't figured out a little bit of defense, man, we may see him get tranquilized too. Adam says Joe Joyce is 38, 39. Yeah, he's about to be 38. Doesn't have much time. None of these guys have a lot of time, man. Zhang versus Otto Wallen, the battle of the Southpaw heavyweights would be interesting. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now. People, you know why Otto Wallen can't get a fight? It's not just what he did to Tyson Fury. It's because of his trainer, Joey Gamache. Joey Gamache is a damn good trainer. Joey Gamache, Teofimo Lopez has 2 signature wins against Richard Comey and against Lomachenko. You know who was training him for those fights? Joey Gamache. After Teofimo Lopez lost to Lomachenko, he went and fought Kambosos, and he lost. It looked horrible in the fight. You know why? He didn't have Joey Gamache. Otto Wallen looked good against Fury. He should have gotten that win, right? He had Joey Gamache. So Otto Wallen, he's another one. Yeah, he's a B-lister, no doubt about that. He just needs the right opportunity, and he's out of here. But they're not giving these guys those fights. You know, these guys' names come up over and over and over again as opponents for the A-lister guys, the big-name guys. You know, I'm not saying big names. He's not A-lister, but, you know, Derek Chisor's a big name. Dillian White's a big name. Gerald Washington still kind of has a name. Gerald Miller's a big name. Konaki, still a big name. But nobody wants to fight those guys. Because you find a guy like Wallen, and you take a loss, that's it. Because no one's going to understand that Wallen really should be an A-lister. But he just can't get the signature fight. And that's the politics and the secret society that messes these people up, man. Jay Adams, I bet you that heavyweight tournament pay will be like $200. I don't know. But I'll tell you what. When it comes to those Saudis, right? They don't care about money. They've got dough. You know, so depends on the key decision makers involved with that event and the whole pay-per-view structure, right? And the networks and all that get involved. They could be the ones that could possibly mess that whole thing up, but I don't think the Saudis would allow it. Because remember, the Saudis, what's money to those guys? That's why when you talk about this heavyweight tournament that's supposed to be taking place out there in Saudi Arabia, that they're working towards right now, it's Wilder, Usyk, it's Wilder, AJ, Usyk, and Fury. Right? My understanding is there was like $1 billion in prize money. Something like those four guys for their fights get like 100 million each, right? That's 400 million. Then the winners go on to face each other for all the belts, and each of them get 200 million apiece. That's $1 billion. Now, take that with a grain of salt. But that's what's circulating out there. Also, I heard something about 200, 300 million, but I keep hearing this $1 billion price point. And it sounds good, but I don't know that to be true. I'm just spreading a damn rumor, but that's what's being said. That caught my attention. And it was broken down a kind of way to where it made sense to me, and when you hear guys on BT Sports saying that, hey, the prize money could be in excess of $1 billion, makes me believe there's some truth to that. Adam says he wants Pennant says, what about Joe Joyce versus Otto Waller next? I think Joe Joyce would beat him. I think he would beat him. But Otto Waller, he can fight the first second of the first round to the last second of the 12th round. But the thing about the thing about Joyce going forward is how much is the damage he took. Are we going to see Joe Joyce now around round 8 or 9, if he's getting hit in that eye? Is he now going to go through what Margarito went through in the second fight with Miguel Cotto? Because no matter what anyone says, Margarito versus Cotto in that second fight, Margarito was starting to come on. And the referee stopped the fight because they saw that Margarito was gaining steam and he was going to stop Cotto. And they saved Cotto. Now that is what you talk about, the secret society and people coming in to fix fights to make sure Margarito didn't get that win in New York at Puerto Rican Day Parade. Because Miguel Cotto was looking good in that fight. But he bust up Margarito's face. Remember, Pacquiao had already, broke that orbital and all that craziness. So Cotto was touching him up. And remember, Cotto's naturally left-handed. So he was jabbing with that left hand. His right hand don't have much steam. He's not right-handed. But he fights orthodox, but he's naturally left-handed. So he's a strong jab and strong hook. And every time he threw it, it was hitting him in that damn eye. That eye Pacquiao messed up. But that being said, with Joe Joyce, if he keeps getting hit in that eye again, maybe that damage, it shows, it kind of, rears his head again. And now Joe Joyce's career could be over. Because anytime he gets hit, that eye may start to shut again. But I don't know. Adam says, there are trillionaires out there. That's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. Trillionaire, man. There's like, they said, let me tell you, they said money can't make you happy. Shit, drop $1 billion in my account. Let me tell you something. I'll be a happy man. I have me a permanent girlfriend, wife on the side. You know what I'm saying? So shit, they can say what they want about money don't make you happy. My ass. Adam says, a cool breeze says, do you think Wilder, Fury, Usyk, and AJ all take tune-ups before this event? I do. I think so. They're talking about it right now. Usyk and Dubois, Tyson Fury and Andy Ruiz. Not sure about Deontay Wilder, but so let me say it like this: Usyk, Dubois, Fury, Ruiz, AJ, Dillian White, Wilder, and I don't know who. Wilder's the only one who doesn't have a tune-up fight scheduled, but all three have tune-up fights. Usyk's it's not signed yet, but that's the direction he's going because he has a mandatory. But Tyson Fury and AJ have their opponents that they want to fight if they're going to do it. Wilder's the only one that doesn't have an opponent. So yeah, I do think so because they got to get those inactivity barnacles off of them, man. You can't go the whole year not doing anything, but at the same time, Wilder may not care if he knows he's about to go fight in December and make $100 million. I mean, shit, he may say, you know what, whatever. If I was Wilder, I would fight any kind of fight. Just like a Crawford, a Vanessian type deal. Go out there, get your train, get in there, stay active, knock that guy out, cruise control until December. That's what I would do. Adam says, yep, you're right. Similar to Joyce's situation. Joyce was starting to pick up steam. Hell yeah, he was starting to pick up steam. Just that damn eye. But yep, I think Joyce would have beat Zhang. It was going that way. But Zhang was out there swallowing that air like dumplings, wasn't he? Zhang was. I said, yo, he's tired. But he had just bust Joe Joyce's face up so bad that it's just nothing Joyce could have done. Pennant says, I enjoy the show very much. Keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. I try to get on more, man, so we can get even more people in here. But I appreciate the positive feedback. Cool Breeze says, all money different. Hell yeah, it's different, man. That's crazy. Them guys are just out there just driving and crashing Lamborghinis, man. I mean, they just don't care. They just don't care. Adam says, it won't surprise me if Wilder fights a Frank Sanchez, of all people, as a tune-up. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I know Wilder's not going to want to, he's not going to want to go crazy and fight like a Kanaki. Because, oh God, they rake Wilder across the coals if he fought Konaki. But, yeah, Frank Sanchez, he had to fight somebody. It had to be a big name. But, boy, if Wilder was to lose that fight, that's why I said I don't know who he would fight, but he's going to have to fight somebody. And this whole WBC and Andy Ruiz being and Wilder in the title eliminator, that just shows you how there's a symbiotic relationship across the sanctioning bodies where they do what the hell they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Wilder and Ruiz should have fought a long time ago. All this, if only the fly on the wall could talk. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. Adam says, Zhang's stamina can be his downfall. Oh, yeah, that's his Achilles heel. His stamina is his Achilles heel because he can take a punch, he can dish it out, and he can take it. But when he starts swallowing that goddamn air, it's over. Adari Pennant says, who wins, Joseph Parker or Daniel Dubois? I think Parker outboxes him. I think Parker outboxes him, man. But I'm going to tell you this. Dubois is taking some damage. And Dubois' punch resistance is gone. In his last fight, Dubois almost got knocked out in the first round. He went down like 3 times. Joseph Parker, he's been in some tough fights. He's been very active. He's damn near living in the UK. Left New Zealand over in the UK, but Joseph Parker reminded me of Austin Trout. He's talking about striking while the iron's hot. He has an opportunity to make millions. Joseph Parker keeps fighting and making those millions while he can. But Joseph Parker, he took some damage when he fought Joe Joyce. So for Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois right now, I think Parker wins if he boxes because I think Daniel Dubois lost some of his confidence. The way he got put down numerous times in that first round, I think Daniel Dubois is going to be suffering from the AJ syndrome. I could be wrong, but you don't just keep getting put down like that and then come back in your next fight and go out there guns blazing. That's just not what you do. Now you're worried about getting knocked out or getting put down. So, yeah, that's what I think. Pennant says, Daniel Dubois is not seasoned enough to fight Usyk. Hell nah, man. He's not seasoned enough, and I just think I think Joyce ruined him because his punch resistance isn't there. The guy he fought, I can't remember his name, but damn, he didn't seem like he hit that hard. But he was just rocking Dubois' world. But I don't know. I think Usyk embarrasses Dubois. It's an easy fight for Usyk. He'll beat him, and then Dubois has to reset and figure out what's next. He's definitely on the B team, so he just had to fight some more B-level fighters. Adam says, I agree, he should have fought Ruiz as the mandatory. Yeah, they should have fought a long time ago, man. But Andrew Ruiz got those Jamal Charlo issues with the wife, the kids, the money, and all the other drama, man. So hopefully Ruiz can get all that together because you can't leave your mind behind in the ring. And if he got all his mind on a bunch of personal issues and struggles and he can't get his mind straight, Andrew Ruiz may be easy food for somebody to come in there and knock out. But I'd have to give him the benefit of the doubt to come in that ring and be disciplined. But he's got too much going on right now. I don't think he'd want to fight Deontay Wilder. But I'll tell you what, and I'm not a guy who watches another man's pocket. But what I will tell you is, when Andy Ruiz made all that money against AJ, he went out and bought a bunch of depreciating assets. And I know for a fact that has Andy Ruiz sweating. That's why he's trying to fight. He wants to fight. He's calling out the biggest names because he created a lifestyle for himself that he has to sustain. And I'll tell you what, in boxing, just because you got an $8 or $10 million payday today, you may never get that again. And that's what Andy Ruiz is realizing. Holy shit, this $8-10 million I made over the second fight, the first fight, like the $5 million. So he made like, I don't know, 13 to 16 million. He spent a whole lot of money on depreciating assets. He's sweating bullets now because it's only so long that money can last, especially if he's not bringing anything else in. So he's got to figure it out. Adam says, Wilder would have had a good name on his resume and a dominant win, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. It's just like Terrence Crawford not fighting Keith Thurman. You about to go fight Spence. Spence fought Porter and Danny Garcia. Why didn't Terrence Crawford fight Keith Thurman? We know Keith Thurman wanted a whole lot of money, but you know what, man? If you make the fight and you beat Keith Thurman, you got a solid name on your resume. And now when you go in there to talk those negotiations or whatever you're going to talk, you can puff out your chest a little bit more. So, yeah, I agree. You know, Wilder should just went out there and picked him off. Yeah, I remember like yesterday, he didn't train hard for that second AJ fight. His career would have been a different outcome if he at least came in shape like Franklin. Hell yeah. Now Franklin, what Franklin showed you, that's when weight loss goes correctly. Because Franklin lost weight, and he came out there, man, and he performed. Still lost the fight, but he came out there to try to take the fight out of the judge's hands, but he just realized real quick that Joshua was just too big and strong, and there's just not much Franklin could have done to win that fight. But he tried. Pennant says, Zhelei Zhang versus Andy Ruiz is a fight to make. No, I think so. The more we sit here and talk, the more I think Zhang versus Andy Ruiz is definitely the fight to make. Andy Ruiz needs a fight. He wants a fight. He needs money. And he's a big name. Zhang wants a big name. He wants to fight in China. Andy Ruiz wants big money. Zhang wants big money. There's going to be big money out there in China. And I think that's a fight that can happen. The only way that fight doesn't happen is if Al Heyman blocks it. Because, you know, he's normally not a guy to stop his fighters from going and making money. But that's the only thing I can see that could create some problems if, for some reason, they blocked Andy Ruiz from going out there and getting paid, which I think would be very, very, very unfortunate, man. Young Elder says Zhang still has to work on his stamina. Should lose 10 to 15 pounds. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Zhang, he has to work on his stamina. But Zhang at his weight may be where he's the most effective, you know? It's like one of those bittersweet things. It's just like Andy Ruiz. You know, him walking around as a blob is where he fought the best. Then he fought Anthony Joshua that first fight. Look at how he performed. Got a little bit of, money. So the man started getting, a little extra steak with the beans and rice. And he didn't train to get himself in shape. So he looked horrible. But some guys are just, they fight better, just not looking aesthetically pleasing. You know what I'm saying? So for Zhang, for him to go and lose weight, you may see Zhang just really look horrible in the ring. And that's what it is. It's like David Benavidez. He went out there and hooked up with Heredia for the Plant fight. He looked like the Latin lover. That man had no fat on him. He was ready to put on a Speedo and hit the beach and shit. You know what I'm saying? But really, to me, I always like seeing him kind of be a little soft in the midsection and go in there and dominate where he's the most comfortable. But he looked good against Plant. But I'm just saying, some guys, they may not look that pleasing to the eye and had that streamlined physique, but they're monsters in the ring. And I think with Zhang, he may be another one of those guys where it's like, you know what? Just let that man sit there, eat his little food and all that, And hopefully no one takes offense to some of the jokes I make. I make a lot of jokes, so don't take nothing personal, man. I talk about barbecue, collard green sandwiches, all kind of shit. So when I say Zhang swallowing dumplings or stir frying somebody, that's just that Caribbean sense of humor. So if someone's offended, let me know. And I'll try not to make no jokes and shit. But yeah, no doubt about that. That weight loss is something else. Zhang will have to get, who wins? Zhang versus Rivas? Oh man, Zhang. Rivas, man, he went down there and picked up that bridgeweight title, which is a damn joke. Just make him fight at damn cruiserweight or fight at heavyweight. It's damn bridgeweight, damn WBC trying to make more money, man. That's a joke. But I think Zhang would tranquilize Rivas. Rivas ain't gonna mess with Zhang. Zhang will have to get Ruiz out in 6 rounds or he loses. Hell yeah. Because Zhang will gas. And Andy Ruiz, he's just going to keep punching, throwing combinations. So yeah, Zhang will be in trouble against Ruiz if it goes into the second half of the fight. Jay Adams, he'll choke him on. Choke him on them dumplings like you said. Hell yeah. Them damn dumplings are good, man. I don't know if you guys know about them damn dumplings. I'm not talking about wontons. You know, I lived all over Asia, man. So from being in Korea, eating kimbap, going over there, man, to Japan, eating them sets, and then going over there in China, all them different types of dumplings they make, man, steamed dumplings, man. That shit is good. Cool Breeze, why not make Ruiz versus Sanchez and send the winner to China? Hey, man, that could work. You know what I'm saying? I just really feel when it comes to Frank Sanchez, I just don't think, it's almost like they don't want to get that man an opportunity, man. Frank Sanchez, if he beats Andy Ruiz, Frank Sanchez should be moving up the ladder to a big fight. But the fact that they're even, it's like they want to take Ruiz and push him and take Sanchez and have him making a lot of lateral accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? Left to right, bunch of accomplishments, but he's not moving up the ladder. He's just moving laterally. And I guess if you're in a holding pattern, it's good to do that to stay active. But Frank Sanchez has too much talent to be sitting here not getting fights. He's basically becoming, you know, a 100,000-mile Cuban Cadillac. You know what I'm saying? Because you got Luis Ortiz, who has 800,000 miles on him. He's an old Cuban Cadillac that, you know, it's not even oil change time. It's time to put him out of commission. But you got the other Cuban Cadillac up and coming that's not getting any activity. And I don't know why the hell they're doing them like that. They're outstanding fighters. But Frank Sanchez is still somewhat in his prime. Don't sit him on the shelf like they did Luis Ortiz. That's horrible. Cool Breeze, good idea, even Sanchez and Ortiz. Yeah, those are good squads, man. But we'll see. And Ortiz, yeah. I've been saying they should make Cuba versus Cuba. But I don't know. I don't know what's stopping it. But I've been saying that. Let them Cubans get in there and fight. But you know, some of these guys don't want to fight their fellow countrymen when you listen to their story of them leaving Cuba and trying to get to the States. I can see them not wanting to be the person who kills their fellow countrymen's dream. So that could be what stops it. But man, Ortiz versus Sanchez, that would be a big fight. Adam says, yeah, both Ruiz and Sanchez will be willing to travel to China. They both want opportunities. Yeah, no doubt about that, man. Them guys, they'd be over there in a heartbeat. No problem. Frank Sanchez, you can add about 4 years to his action. Yeah, Frank Sanchez is probably more like, you know, them Cubans, man. Frank Sanchez may be 62 years old, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you look at that hairline, Frank Sanchez could be pushing about 62, 63. We already know Luis Ortiz, he don't even go by age, he goes by mileage. Luis Ortiz is about 800,000 miles in that Cuban Cadillac. But that's crazy. But I'm going to jump off of here in a minute. What else y'all want to talk about? I talked a little bit about Ryan Garcia, Joe Goosen out here with all his lies about Ryan Garcia. But I think Joe Goosen's a bad coach for Ryan Garcia. I don't like the things that Joe Goosen was saying. He made it sound almost like Ryan Garcia trains himself. It's crazy. What's going on, 818? I see you in here. Yeah, we've been on here for about, how long we been on here, man? About an hour and a half. But yeah, we talked about Zhang, talked about all the heavyweights. And right now, I'm pinning Dillian White versus Luis Ortiz. Will be interesting. Hey, before, I would have said Luis Ortiz would win that fight. I'm not so sure Luis Ortiz beats Dillian White right now. If he does beat him, it's because Dillian White's with Buddy McGirt, and Buddy McGirt turned that lion into a pussycat, and Dillian White's out here trying to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee in box, and that's not his style. But what I was saying about Joe Goosen, Ryan Garcia, Joe Goosen, he praises him too much. You know, he's always saying there's nothing for him to show Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia does everything great. Ryan Garcia runs great. He could have been a cross-country runner. He runs 12 miles a day. At the end of his run, he sprints a mile. Like an all-out sprint, no exaggeration. Like, man, who out here can sprint a mile? Now, I'm going to tell you, when I was in the military, right, I retired 4 years now. And we used to have to run 1.5 miles for our fit test. And when I was in, I remember when I was in Korea, I was like 30, y'all like 38, man. 38 years old at the time. And I used to run those hills in Korea. I'm talking about, I used to run for like 2 hours. First hour and 15 minutes was all uphill through the country. Crazy. And then I used to run back for 2 hours. So when I used to run my 1.5 miles, I used to run 1.5 miles in 7 minutes and 38 seconds. And I was hauling ass. And I just wouldn't get tired because I used to run those hills. And I was boxing at the time. But for someone to sprint a mile? Man, I don't know about that, you know. Then Joe Goosen says Ryan Garcia is breaking hands. And then he says there's nothing for him to teach Ryan Garcia, just to remind him of stuff. It's all problems, if you ask me, man, when you got a coach who's saying there's no wisdom he can impart to you, just remind you on things to do because you do everything great already. Like Ryan Garcia, I'm going to tell you right now, he was not and is not a turnkey operation. That's not what he was or what he is. Ryan Garcia still won't tuck his damn chin. But you telling me there's nothing to have taught him or to remind him? Make him tuck a damn egg under his chin. Tuck a tennis ball under there. And make him hit the mitts and shadow box with that. He'll learn to tuck his damn chin. Luis Ortiz wins because of his age. I think Luis Ortiz wins. I mean, Dillian White wins because Ortiz just, his punch resistance is gone, man. Yeah, absolutely, Adams. His punch resistance is gone. I don't know what happened to Ortiz, but he's up there in age. When I saw Charles Martin putting him down, that blew my mind. I said, yo, Charles Martin putting down Luis Ortiz? Then Andy Ruiz, so yeah, Luis Ortiz, he's at the end of the road. Pennant says Zhang versus Frank Sanchez would be a very good boxing match. It would, because Sanchez, I think he's right-handed, isn't he? But bottom line, Sanchez is a boxer. He's gonna stay on the outside. He may come mid-range. He's not gonna come in close. He's gonna set up his attack, and he's only gonna strike when it's safe. But that's gonna be a fight where Zhang's gonna get frustrated because you're basically gonna have a Canelo Alvarez versus Erislandy Lara all over again. You know what I'm saying? Where we, the fight fans, we see the two names and get excited. When the fight happens, it's not going to be, you know, what we expected. Jay Adams says Ryan Garcia is showing signs of overtraining. Hell yeah, he's overtrained. Ryan Garcia started training in October. For those of you who didn't know, what I'm telling you are facts right now. I'm not making this up. This is Joe Goosen said. I listened to it today when I was jogging. Ryan Garcia started training in October. You know, just coming in the gym, putting in his road work. And then in January, he started training hard. Very hard for the fight. And my thing is this. If Ryan Garcia fighting in April, right? He started training hard in January. January, February, March, April. So you figure that's about 100 and, not quite 120 days, but 100 plus days of training for Tank Davis. But then, supposedly, Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford are fighting June 17th, and we're here in April. and nobody's really turning up the heat in the gym. Talking about 60 days out is enough time for training. That don't make no damn sense, man. So it just doesn't make sense that you got a guy like Ryan Garcia who's going to the biggest fight of his life, who started training in October and really picking up the pace in January to give him 100 plus days to get ready for Tank. And then you got these two guys getting ready to fight for the biggest fight of their life in Spence and Crawford. And these guys are looking like at a 60-day window. So I don't buy all that, man. Adam says he better rest his body around this stage of camp. Yeah, right now it should just be chilling. But Ryan Garcia he's been cruising around 139 pounds for the last few days. And according to Joe Goosen, once Ryan weighs in at 136, Joe Goosen saying that 10 pounds is a lot of weight. He's not worried about Ryan Garcia. He's like a 16-ounce steak is 1 pound. He said Ryan Garcia can eat 10 of those and still make the weight the next day because the weigh-in the day of the fight is at 10 o'clock. Now, when he said that, I said, okay, Joe Goosen taking it to the stupid again. And then he said, well, you still got to watch how much water you can drink. He's like, but when you think about it, they weigh in at 2 o'clock. Between 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock, no one's going to eat 10 steaks. He's like, so Ryan can have a nice meal, he can drink, and by the time he wakes up the next morning to go on the scale, he wouldn't have to starve himself. So Ryan's not going to be dehydrated. He's not going to be hungry. He's going to be just fine going into the fight. And Joe Goosen did say that for fighters, they don't want to come into the fight feeling full. They want to feel a little bit hungry and feel light, their belly to feel light. He's like, so everything, according to Joe Goosen, everything is working to the advantage of Ryan Garcia. Now, I don't quite agree with anything that Joe Goosen said, but that's what he said today. Who do you favor? Cool Breeze says, who do you favor? Inoue versus Fulton. I favor Inoue, man. I do. Don't get me wrong. Fulton can box. Fulton has an extremely high IQ, but he is the bigger man. So I think it's going to be a very competitive fight. But there's some things about Fulton that concern me. I watched when he fought Figueroa. He gets on the ropes and he'll languish there, and some of those habits are hard to break. And when you got a guy like Inoue he's a ferocious puncher. Inoue has an expanded amateur background as well. He was knocking people out as an amateur. So Inoue has a high boxing IQ as well. Now, he's not floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee, but he's cutting that ring off. He's using angles, and he has great time and knows when to throw his punches. But the other thing about Inoue that I like, right, is he was able to do something Joe Joyce wasn't able to do this weekend. When Inoue was fighting Donaire, he got his jaw was broken and his orbital was broken, right, in that fight. He found a way to nullify Donaire's left hand, so he would stop getting hit with that shot, and he can get to the finish line, and the fight ended up becoming a draw. And he had a broken jaw and a broken orbital, and he got all the way to the end of the fight. So that tells me that Inoue and his team know boxing. So when he gets in that ring with Fulton, I don't think there's nothing Fulton and his team can do that's going to create any serious problems for Inoue. Plus, I don't think Fulton has the pop to discourage Inoue. But we won't know until he gets in the ring. But Fulton said something that I thought was bad medicine. Stephen Fulton said, right, that people don't realize that he can hit hard too. And when he gets in there with Inoue, right, people are going to be surprised at how hard he hits. Now, what I took from that is Fulton may be out here getting caught up with these dumbass fans, and now he wants to prove to the fans that he can knock people out too. And let me tell you something. The wrong person for Fulton to want to try to prove a point about when it comes to his power is Inoue. Why would Fulton go now and stop doing the things that got him success and now try to prove that he can outbang with the monster Inoue because he's saying Inoue's the smaller fighter. Now that's just crazy. But if Fulton goes in there trying to prove a point, I think he gets vaporized. And I personally think at some point in the fight, Inoue's going to catch up to him. So that's just how I see it. But don't get me wrong, Fulton, he may even cut Inoue's face up. Inoue has those high cheekbones. He may cut his eye. You may see some swelling from Inoue. You may see some rounds where Inoue's frustrated, goes back to his corner, and they got a whole lot of Japanese going on over there because they're like, okay, what's the problem? But at some point, I think Fulton will slow down just enough for Inoue to start timing him, and you're going to see once Inoue starts hitting him, that fight's going to change. But Fulton could pull it off, but he's going to Japan. That's jet lag, different country, different culture. The crowd's not going to be there for him. That $3-4 million he's going over there to make, I hope it's worth it because he's in over his head, in my opinion. But we'll find out. I don't mind being wrong. I'm just having a conversation. Know what I'm saying? He said, I heard Garcia, Adam says, I heard Garcia doesn't do any recovery. Yeah, he may not. I don't know, man. But that's not good. You got to do some kind of recovery, man. But everybody has, if it's been working for him, I guess. But with Tank Davis, you got to think he want to do things a little different and get the right people in there to make sure that he's in the best shape possible. But recovery is critical, man. Pennant says, Zhelei Zhang versus Ali Aaron Demarizian would be interesting. I think Zhang against anybody at this point would be interesting, man. But I really think Zhang is right on the cusp of becoming one of them A-listers, man, when it comes to the heavyweights. But his name is out there. If they were to sit here and I should have pulled it up for y'all, man, but I got something else up. I put it up for you. But when they put all the list of the top heavyweights, if they do a list of like, let's say 5 names, Zhang's name is up there now. I mean, he's got an interim title, but even without that, he's up there now. He's got everybody's attention because Joe Joyce was. I still think he's the boogeyman, but he got beat, so it is what it is. But Joe Joyce was the guy who was supposed to, take over the heavyweight division, and it's not even that boxing experts and analysts and content creators were saying that. It was these are things other fighters were saying who've been in the ring with him. They were like, hey, he's a problem. But now that he's lost, it's like, okay, Zhang beat the boogeyman, so now Zhang's the boogeyman. Pennant says, I think they have the right. Adam says, I think they're right about the empty stomach thing, have a better stamina when running. Oh, yeah, I work out every morning on an empty stomach. My wife would be like, yo, your stomach's right. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm about to go run. I've been doing that since that's how you should cut weight, man. Always run on an empty stomach. Because when your body looking for a source of energy to burn off, ain't no carbs in it. It goes after the fat. And I've always cut weight like that. I'm 239 pounds now. 2 months ago, I was 277. So hopefully by 1 July, I'll be about 205. You'll know because when I do these videos, you see my face will be all looking all crazy and shit. But, just putting that work in, man. Shows a high pain tolerance. Yep, that's crazy. Yeah, with Inoue and that damn pain tolerance. Not everybody has that quality, man. Pennant says, Anthony Joshua versus Frank Sanchez. Who you got? Oh, right now I got Frank Sanchez. I got Frank Sanchez right now. And for the reason that we've been talking about the whole thing, Joshua too gun shy. Frank Sanchez will get to him. And Joshua's going to clam up. Jay Adams says, Adari, I think F.A. Jabba will put up a better fight against Zhang than Ali Ram. F.A. Jabba is another one where they turned a lion into a pussycat. He's out here just using his jab. He don't even throw his right hand no more. So I don't know what the hell they're doing with that Jabba, but he needs to go somewhere, man, and get back to being the killer he was. It's amazing when you see these guys come out here and everybody is like, really championing and trumpeting these guys because of what they're doing in the ring, and then they just stop doing it. They get hit, they get buzzed, or they take a loss, and they decide they need to just overhaul their style. That's not what got you success. So now you're out here and you're getting wins, but nobody wants to see you fight. You're not on TV anymore. It's crazy. Pennant says Jared Anderson versus Steven Shaw would be a very good boxing match. It would, but I'll tell you, the fight to make is Ricardo Torres versus Jared Anderson. Ricardo Torres is a silver medalist, just came out the Olympics, fighting out of Tumulca, California. Mexican heavyweight. You probably wouldn't know. You look at him, he doesn't look like the Barrera Morales, typical kind of brown skin, jet black hair. Nah, he has curly brown hair, big ass brown mustache. He looks white, but he's not. But Ricardo Torres is a problem. That's who Jared Anderson needs to fight. But Jared Anderson will be moving down the ladder. You know what I'm saying? Not moving up the ladder, fighting Torres. But Torres is coming. That's the guy y'all need to be paying attention to. Ricardo Torres. He is a problem. Adam says, Sanchez broke him, and I agree. FA job is even more boring to watch since then. Yeah, they took it to the stupid, man. Everybody coming here and panic just because the man got in the ring, got touched up a little bit. Now they're going to go and overhaul him, and now nobody even cares to watch him fight. I'm sure he's not making, half the money he was making before when he was out here knocking people out was must-see TV. He was supposed to be the guy to beat Deontay Wilder. He was to fight Deontay Wilder now. Deontay Wilder would tranquilize him. But that being said, fellas, man, I'm gonna jump off of here, man. I got to get ready for tomorrow. But I appreciate y'all coming on. Appreciate the likes, any donations, just watching my videos. Whatever y'all do, I appreciate it, man. I'm a retired guy. You know what I'm saying? So me doing these videos, man, is therapeutic. With the disco stash. Hell yeah, that's him. But I just want to tell y'all thank you, man. I appreciate y'all joining. And I'll be back on tomorrow, man. I'm going to try to get on during the day. I got this class I'm finishing. I just finished this PMP course, Project Management. And this is the last week. So next week I'll be on every day because I don't have to write a bunch of reports, man. But I'll be on next week. Appreciate it. Yeah, you guys are welcome, man. Thank you so much, Cool Breeze, Jay Adams, and everybody else, man. I appreciate you guys, man. We'll be back on tomorrow, but definitely next week I'll be on a lot more. We can talk about everything. Now, it's all cool. Cornelius, I'll give you 5 minutes, Cornelius. What you want to talk about, Cornelius? I'll give you 5 minutes before I jump off. What you want to talk about, Cornelius? I'll catch you up real quick. You tell me what you want to talk about. I know how it is, man. Shit, I used to work 16-hour shifts, some exercise shifts. Do you plan on doing fight parties? Yeah, I go live during some of the fights. But the problem is, well, it's not a problem, but I have 4 sons, man, and all them dudes play sports. You know what I'm saying? My 12-year-old down to my 5-year-old. So a lot of times when we come back, and the fight's going on, sometimes, my little 5-year-old and my 8-year-old, they want to do things. And so we chill. Connor Ben? I call him Connor Hen, man. So Connor Hen, it's crazy what they're doing. They need to ban that dude from boxing. But Connor Hen and Pacquiao are going to be fighting. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be fighting in the summer. A lot of people are pissed off about it. Where does his career go from here? Connor Hen, his career is going to go to all corners of the earth, man. Wherever he can go out there and fight without having to worry about a damn boxing license, the UK boxing license. You know what I'm saying? So I think Conor Ben, career-wise, he's going to be able to fight. But I just think he'll never get the true satisfaction anymore if he doesn't fight. Thank you, Adari Pennant. I just don't think he's going to get the satisfaction if he doesn't start fighting back in the UK. He's a UK fighter. He carries his dad's name. The UK have built him into what he is. He should be fighting at home. But, yeah, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. He should be fighting at home, man. But because, look, I think he's guilty, all right? I don't care what they say about this shit about them eggs. Supposedly, Conor Ben ate some eggs that were contaminated with clomiphene. The story is, there's a chicken farm, right? And I'm not trying to be funny. there's a damn chicken farm, and at this chicken farm, to increase the production of the eggs being laid, right? They were given these orally administering clomiphene to the hens, which would rapidly produce the egg laying rate. And that clomiphene is the shit that was found in Conor Hen's body. But as a result of the hens being orally administered clomiphene, when they laid their eggs, the eggs were contaminated with clomiphene. Supposedly, Conor Hen ate about 100 of those motherfuckers. So he ate about 100 of those eggs, and that's how he supposedly got the clomiphene in the system. Complete nonsense. So I think he's guilty. All right, Adams. Peace out, man. Y'all take care. But yeah, Cornelius, that's the whole story with him. So the WBC did not clear him of any wrongdoing. What they're just saying is they're putting him back in their rankings, which they have already. But just because the WBC put them back in their rankings, that doesn't alleviate the guilt. You see, he still has to prove his innocence to the British Boxing Board of Control, which he hasn't. Now, supposedly, there's this dossier, like a 270-page dossier out there that was given to the WBC that supposedly proved his innocence, right? This document he won't give to the British Boxing Board of Control. Now, if someone's accusing me of murder, right, and I have the evidence and proof to alleviate that accusation off of me to prove my innocence, right, I'm going to make sure that proof gets to my lawyer, gets to the judge, and they get me the hell out of jail. Conor Hen, he's saying, yeah, I have the proof here, but they didn't treat me fairly. He says they didn't treat me fairly, right? So since they didn't treat me fairly, I'm going to be stubborn and I'm not going to give them this 270-page dossier. I'm going to keep it to myself. Now, that makes no sense. So when you look at the moves he's making, it's just they say, like in Trinidad and Tobago, right? So my family's from, they say plenty crap starts to stink. And with him, there's just too much crap surrounding this guy, man, and it all stinks. If this can prove your innocence, what are we doing? Give it to him. Let them sit there and examine it. Okay, cool. He's right. Here's your boxing license back. You box anywhere you want. You go into Dubai, we're not going to try to block that fight, especially if you're fighting a British boxer. We're not going to sit there now and threaten to suspend his license because we want to make sure you can't go out there and fight anywhere until you prove your innocence. Just give us a document and we're good to go. So to me, he's creating his own misery. I think he's guilty, personally. Plus, when you look at the way he performed early in his career, he was getting knocked down. He was a good fighter, but he wasn't great. And then just like overnight, he became this monster. So nothing adds up with Conor Benn. You know what I'm saying? And Eddie Hearn, I like Eddie Hearn because, you know, if I'm riding with you, Eddie Hearn's like, we both going down in flames. And that's how Eddie Hearn has been with Conor Benn. He's like, we going down in flames. If you're gonna die, I'm gonna die with you. And it's good to have Eddie Hearn on your team. Because you see a guy like Eddie Hearn, like Joshua Buatsi, they ain't on the same team no more. Eddie Hearn, he doesn't have too many nice things to say about Buatsi, does he? So I'd rather have Eddie Hearn on my team. But yeah, to answer your question, Conor Benn's going to fight. He's going to make a lot of money. He just won't be fighting in the UK. But at some point, he's going to have to confront the issue. But, you know, it's on him. Adari Penny said, can you stay a little longer? Nah, I got to jump off. But I just wanted to catch Cornelius Jenkins up on Conor Hen. But that's everything with Conor Hen in a nutshell, man. So hopefully that gets you up to speed. And everything that I told you is all facts. None of that was my opinion and exaggeration. Everything I told you was a fact. So you can carry that into your conversations, man. Yeah, he started getting chaos out of nowhere. Yeah, out of nowhere. He knocked one hitter quitter in people. Come on, man. He did that Samuel Vargas. When he knocked out Samuel Vargas, I said, okay, what the hell was that? But it didn't I didn't want to put the hairy eyeball on him yet. Is when he knocked out, what's his name, man? The guy who's the nutritionist, the boxer. He fought Providnikov, he fought Pacquiao, he fought Earl Spence. He wears the glasses, man. What's his name, man? He's from New York. The glasses, white guy. So when he knocked him out, that's when I said, okay, something's wrong here. Man, I forget. He was a guy. He's a boxer, professional boxer. He was Daniel Jacobs' nutritionist, getting him ready for fights. A name just came to my head. Hold on, I'm about to tell you the guy. When he knocked him out, I couldn't believe it because I'd never seen him get. I seen Pacquiao hurt him. I seen Earl Spence put him down. Yeah, Algieri. When he knocked out Algieri, I said, no way. You know, like, how? I'll be honest with you. That's what got my attention. And I was like, how the hell did he do that? So, yeah, I think he's guilty, man. You just don't knock out Chris Algieri like that. You may hit him and catch him with shots and put him down and shit, but to knock him out cold like that, that's just not how that works. And to have endless stamina, nah, man, let me tell you something. You know, hey, a shit sandwich is a shit sandwich. Don't try to feed me that and tell me and dress it up with all kind of garlic sauce and all kind of nice stuff and pepper sauce and make it nice and sweet. A shit sandwich is a shit sandwich. And I think that's what they're trying to feed us with Conor Ben. It's all crap. But yeah, Cornelius, I got to jump off of here now, man. I got to get up in the morning with them boys. The heavyweight division is deep with a lot of talent. Yeah, everything's interesting. The heavyweight division is bubbling big time. The heavyweight division is about to overshadow the welterweight and 135. The heavyweight division is back alive big time. But fellas, I got to jump off of here, man. I got to get ready for tomorrow with these kids, man. It's 11:38 over here. But y'all be cool. You know, I'm in the breeze, man. All right. Thank you so much. I'll be back on, man. We'll catch up some more next time, all right? Y'all be cool.